Yo, what is up, Kingdom Hearts fans? It's your boy Amaziah here, and today we're going to be talking about, of course, Master Xehanort's Keyblade as our second Year of Xehanort video. Now, if you don't know what Year of Xehanort is, maybe you're new to the channel. Year of Xehanort is supposed to be 12 videos, one video a month, that pretty much talks about anything Xehanort that I find interesting, and of course, supposed to be kind of little speculation videos or clearing up certain things for fans of course, Kingdom Hearts before Kingdom Hearts 3 releases, since it may be released this year or next year. So of course I wanted to actually talk about Xehanort before Xehanort finally gets put down and no longer is the villain of the series, because he's definitely like the most interesting character in the entire series besides Naminé and of course other characters that we never got to see too much of until this point, which Kingdom Hearts 3 may finally do some other characters justice besides Sora. So let's go ahead and get into the whole conversation talking about the Keyblade. Now if we're going to talk about Master Xehanort's Keyblade, we have to take the two legends or the two histories of the X-Blade and of course Keyblades, K-E-Y blades. They seem to contradict each other, and a lot of people always confuse the two, but there isn't that much confusion between them. Now, of course, young Xehanort has actually made the statement that, of course, out of all of the Keyblades in existence, all of the Keyblades, remember that, all of the Keyblades in existence, Master Xehanort's is the most ancient. Now, of course, this also brought a lot of confusion to a lot of people's minds because there's also the legend of the Keyblades and where they come from. And it's said that the Keyblades are actually derived from, of course, the Chi-Blade, the X-Blade. The X-Blade is supposed to be the precursor that influenced people to pretty much try and make replicas, meaning that all Keyblades are forgeries, apparently. So if all Keyblades are forgeries, then of course that would mean that the X-Blade and of course Master Xehanort's Keyblade, there's no way that his Keyblade could come before the X-Blade, right? Well, it isn't that confusing when you actually look at it and put it into real context. So first we're going to talk about Chi, and then we're going to talk about, of course, the Keyblades in the order that they come in. And the reason why I wanted to talk about Chi is because I need to prove to you guys that the X-Blade is not a K-E-Y blade, a Keyblade. So let's go ahead and get into it. Now, Chi, by definition, means life force, life energy, prana, all things relatable to the nature of Kingdom Hearts itself. It's the light and pure essence of all things in existence in the realms. Now, of course, if Kingdom Hearts itself is supposed to be like, this whole mega structure that's supposed to be holding the worlds and the realms together, and it was swallowed by the realm of darkness, then we have to look at this thing like this. The Keyblade is made up when well, it can be made up when 13 darknesses go against 13 lights. And of course, it can also be made when a pure light and a pure darkness actually merge together. These two examples are going to be the new incoming Keyblade War, or of course what happened between Ventus and Vanitas. So of course, with those two things being what we know, we can only go off the one that we've seen thus far, and that's the Ventus and Vanitas one. So with Ventus and Vanitas, we got to see them get the Keyblade. However, if you don't completely merge, then the Keyblade will be incomplete. And why am I even going into this, right? Well, that's because we need to actually look at the concept that maybe Kingdom Hearts is both light and darkness, like pure halves. It's like half and half. Maybe one side will look like light and the other side will look like pure darkness. In fact, if you look at kind of like the emblem for Kingdom Hearts 3, you kind of do get to see that one of the numerals actually is light and one of the numerals is pure darkness, and the one in the middle is actually gray. Now, I don't know what the gray one is supposed to be for. Maybe it's just because gray is the color that they're deciding to use, and it also mirrors everything. If you realize, everything in Kingdom Hearts does mirror each other. 7 lights, 13 darkness, light and darkness, period. Of course, when you have Ventus and Vanitas, light and darkness, boom. When you have, of course, the two teams, light and darkness, boom. The worlds, there's worlds inside of the realm of light, the realm in between, and then the realm of darkness, boom. So everything pretty much kind of mirrors each other in that type of fashion. Of course, there's the light, and then there's the darkness, and then of course they all kind of sort of balance each other out. So right now, we're going to be moving along into, of course, talking about, I believe we need to move into the legend of course, the Keyblade, and talking about what actually happened that when the first Keyblade was created, Master Xehanort's Keyblade. So if we're going to be talking about Master Xehanort's Keyblade, that means it could have only been bequeathed to 2 people originally. So it could have been given to the Master of Masters, although I highly doubt it, but it could have also been given to the 6th apprentice of the Master of Masters, meaning that the Master of Masters would have actually had to have been, once again, because I have speculated this before, the wielder of the X-Blade. He was the original wielder of the X-Blade. Now, if he was the original wielder of the X-Blade, then that would mean the person that he bequeathed the original Keyblade, the first ever Keyblade, to was his sixth apprentice. Since, of course, the foretellers have weapons that kind of look the same, that would mean that the essence, or however the Master of Master wound up creating their Keyblades, theirs are more linked to them. That's why they have these certain different animals that, of course, they associate themselves with. And since they associate themselves with those animals, that also carried over onto their Keyblade. So with Master Xehanort being a ram, him being a leader and stuff like that, and what ram actually stand for, or what, I think, yeah, it's a ram, what ram actually stand for and stuff like that, then of course you can actually understand exactly why he would have this Keyblade. Now, if the Master of Masters gave this Keyblade to his original pupil, we can also look at other things too. Maybe Ericus and Xehanort's master actually is the first apprentice or the sixth apprentice of the Master of Masters. Now, don't get it wrong. Don't get this wrong. Look, because I know a lot of people are going to confuse this. He's called the sixth apprentice, but he's not the sixth apprentice in the sense of he was the sixth person to actually be found and become a master through the Master of Masters, or a potential foreteller through the Master of Masters. That's not what it's saying. They call him the sixth apprentice is because he's excluded from the 5 foretellers, so that's why they call him the sixth. He's not the sixth because that's when he came into, of course, potentially becoming a Master of Masters. That's not what it's about. He's more than likely the original apprentice, and we can say that because it's a cliche in stories to where the first apprentice, like, look at, it's gonna be weird, but look at Kung Fu Panda. It's a cliche in stories to where the first apprentice is usually the one that either falls off, or he's the one that doesn't become added to the group, like such as the foretellers. He's the one that doesn't become added to the group for any reason. Maybe the master saw more, maybe their master saw more in his future than he saw with the foretellers, or maybe he just loved him enough that he didn't want to curse him with the life or the same, of course, destiny that the foretellers were going to be given, of course, like with them being destroyed, or with them actually having to go through the Keyblade War and turning against one another. Maybe he didn't want to put that same pressure on them. Now, of course, with that being said, this would give him a dope reason to actually leave the Master of Masters teaching and go off and create his own world. Boom, the land of departure. And where did he decide to reside in his world? Of course, the realm in between. So this would mean that he's light and darkness. He's more than likely a light and darkness character. That's what his heart was. And the darkness is what made him leave home, but the light is what made him probably find new students. Now, when he found students of his own, we obviously get to see young Xehanort and young Ericus sitting in a room where they're playing chess, and if you look up and to your right from young Xehanort's perspective, you get to see the 7th apprentice's Keyblade. Now take that out for something, right? Take that for something, right? Who is their master? Their master either has to be an apprentice, an original apprentice of course, the first apprentice of the Master of Masters, or he's the sixth. He's the sixth. Of course, he's the sixth or the first apprentice of the Master of Masters. So that means he would have to either be the guy himself or he's someone under him. So there you go, guys, and that's why Master Xehanort's Keyblade is the most ancient Keyblade of them all. It isn't to contradict the X-Blade legend of it being, of course, the precursor to Keyblades, K-E-Y blades. It isn't supposed to contradict that. What it's saying is, out of existence of Keyblades, K-E-Y blades, that one is the one that came first, while the Keyblade is the precursor to all of them. It's kind of supposed to be like, okay, the Keyblade is the base root, and then of course all of the rest of them just kind of like derive from the Keyblade. So there you go. That's pretty much all of the speculation and stuff wrapped up into a little small video. I may also leave a comment at the bottom of a video in case you actually got confused on anything. It's gonna pretty much detail it all out, but more straightforward without me. Of course, I usually like to go in depth with my commentary. So let me know what you guys think about that. This is me, your boy Amaziah. Don't forget to do a little A-class gaming in everything you do. Don't forget to keep it A-class, and I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. Peace the heck out.